most people overthink it, but it's no different than the actual dollar. The only difference is it's a digital coin.
Like, don't you like to see a dollar? Like with Bitcoin, can you see it? Like, can you hold it?
Yeah,
it's digital.
But you can't. You can't see it because it's in your wallet. It's like your credit card. You don't see a dollar. You just know you just swipe, right? Or when Apple Pay, now you don't even swipe. You just put it next to a machine.
Right.
It's the same. Actually, it's the same thing. The only thing is it's digital currency.
I don't know, Akon. Seems like you're doing well with it over there.
Well, you also have 4 labels right now.
Yeah, we created Iconic Label Group, which is 4 labels. We got a Latin label called Keloke, where we're putting out all Latin artists. Mm-hmm. You know, then we got Akonda, which is the African label, straight Afrobeat. Mm-hmm. And then we have Jamaican, which is straight Caribbean, you know, reggae, calypso. Mm-hmm. And then we got Iconic, which is more of like this crossover hip hop, R&B, pop stuff.
Got you.
You have a Spanish, like a crossover Spanish album that you're working on?
No, it's a full Latin album.
A full Latin album.
It's called El Negrito, baby. El Negrito.
So you speak Spanish fluently?
Un poquito.
Okay.
You know, I was raised around Puerto Rico and Jersey, so.
So you're good enough at it that you could do a whole.
Great enough at it. Do a whole album.
Envy, say something to him.
See, I like.
See?
That's all I got in me. And I see.
Ay, Dios mío.
That's all I got. That's all I got. So now during this whole time when you went to Africa and you was doing these businesses and everything, you just left music alone or?
No, I never left music alone because when I was in Africa, I was building the Afrobeat scene. Mm-hmm. You know, when I first went out there in around 2008 doing heavy things, I signed Wizkid. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, was doing a lot of consulting for a lot of artists there. Ended up signing Davido, you know, P Square.
You signed Davido?
Yeah, Davido's, that's like my little brother. You know, Davido's originally from Atlanta.
Yeah, I know he's from Atlanta.
And he started his music career actually in Atlanta and then decided, you know what, man, it's too much of a struggle here. Let me just go back home. He went back home and just popped off like this.
Mm-hmm. I didn't realize you were involved in Wizkid and Davido's careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, P Square was actually the biggest at that time when I was there. It was 2 twin brothers. You know, there was a group. We had a song called Chop My Money, which was just a huge smash. But at the time, Afrobeat wasn't as big here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And what I loved about Davido is that he's an independent artist. Like he came with the U.S. hustle and brought it to Africa.
You know, I was the first.
So he completely get it.
I was the first DJ to play his record. Mm-hmm. And the reason I was playing his record, it was me, Yee, my wife. Where were we in? Bermuda, Bahamas?
Bermuda.
We're in Bermuda. And they were playing it. It was so big out there.
Yeah.
That I started playing it back here. And I remember Pro Style called and was like, yo, what record is that? And I sent it to him, and then we added it, and then it took off from here on U.S. stations. You know,
yeah.
It was a dope. But I didn't know. Is he still signed to you?
No. He's doing his own thing now.
Why'd you let him go?
No, it's not even a matter of let go because in Africa's contracts really don't exist.
What do you mean?
You should just shake hands. It's our word.
Some Bitcoin.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a Bitcoin.
Yeah, especially in Nigeria, ain't no contracts being honored. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and me and David never had a contract. Mm-hmm. You know, I was more like a big brother, just kind of walked him through certain things. He learned more things and then advised and things like that.
Why do you think that Afrobeats got so huge here all of a sudden when it's been around for so long? Why do you think now people are gravitating toward it?
Well, because because what you're hearing today is Afropop. Mm-hmm. It ain't quite Afrobeat. Mm-hmm. Like Afrobeat was more what Fela did. Mm-hmm. Fela created Afrobeat, which is more traditional drums, rhythm, culture. You know what I'm saying? Well, now the younger generation just kind of took it and moved it over to the more crossover rhythmic sound. You know what I'm saying? Changes, add more sense, more melody. So it's almost like how hip hop, how you went from boom bap to do 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 like West Coast, and then it changed over into like hip hop just changed into music.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It went from straight drum beat, you know, bass lines and break beats to now it's actual music. Mm-hmm. And that's the same transition that's happening with Afropop. And I think Afrobeat is the best words to use to describe the music and sound. Okay. Because in Africa, it's kind of moved up to a whole nother level because the younger generation just kind of did it the way they, you know, embellished it. You know what I mean?
You don't get a lot of credit for a lot of the artists that you helped out. You know, you mentioned Wizkid and Davido and Red Cafe and French Montana, Cardinal Official, T-Pain, Lady Gaga.
Jeezy.
He helped Jeezy on his first record too. Yeah, you don't get a lot of credit for a lot of the stuff that you helped start before it was a cool trend.
T-Pain, you and T-Pain.
T-Pain as well.
Yeah, that's my little family. No, but I don't do anything to expect anything back in return. You know, if I do it, it just comes from the heart.
Because that's how you get your blessings.
Yeah, that's how you get your. But a lot of people don't realize too. Everyone has their destiny, and there's gonna be people that comes in your life that help you to fulfill that destiny. I just feel like I just been a part of a lot of people's destiny. So this is to come to them no matter what. They was gonna get that success or get that fame or reach a certain heights, with or without me in it. I just think that when certain people are at it, it just creates a different value for you. And how you decide to take your future on and involve the people that's been a part of your life determines how long you stay and how big your legacy becomes.
Have you ever been disappointed by an artist that you knew had so much potential, but they just weren't living
All
up
the
to
time. All the time. That'd be the hardest part, because you'd be like, man, he got it, or she got it, but they just don't get it. Does that make sense? Like, because it'd be the most talented ones that just never understand.
Like, why don't they just work a little harder, do this, get out here? Sometimes people are in their own way too, because
they in their own way, and most people actually believe that they don't have to do a lot of things because they're talented.
Right, it should just happen.
Or once you reach a certain height, like you get a crazy record, and you're like, oh, I'm in, I'm good. That's where your work actually starts to begin, especially in hip hop, because hip hop, as y'all know, you really literally as good as your last record.
Right. Then you're irrelevant.
Then you're irrelevant.
You're irrelevant. Like, I just had a hit. You're irrelevant now. Are you still cool with some of those artists? Like, you still cool with Payne? You still speak?
I'm cool with everybody. I'm still cool with every single artist. Like, and that's another thing. I never really ever had no beef with nobody.
Right.
Oh, you don't hear that. I mean, cause if I do it for you, if somebody said or did anything, I can't even fathom that, because I've never done anything that didn't help or help to propel somebody else's career. Because I mean, I built my career off helping other people build their careers. You know what I'm saying?
What do you think about label owners holding people to a contract when they want to get out of it?
To me, that's the dumbest. Well, let me rephrase that. I won't say it's the dumbest thing, but I don't think it's beneficial for them or the business. Because me personally, I wouldn't want to hold anyone that don't want to be here. Like, if you don't want to be with me, it's cool. Bro, just do your thing. Because sometimes people don't understand the value you have until they're no longer with you anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think from an executive standpoint, instead of just holding the artist and saying, I'm not letting you go, cool. You got money invested in that artist. And that's what they'd be holding on. But I think there's ways to negotiate it to where you can get your cake and eat it too. No problem. Let him go do his thing. But whatever you owe, just pay that back later. Or if you go into another contract with somebody else, just make sure that you're written in to where you be recouping whatever your investment is as that person's career moves forward. But don't try to block them in and say they can't do this or do this with anybody else, because if the artist is, if his heart is not there, he's not going to produce anyway. So nobody wins. The artist can't function properly creatively because he's in a disgruntled situation. You're never going to get your investment back because the artist isn't moving or active. So it's like, where do you win? Nobody wins in a situation like that.
Did you ever have those other conversations besides music? Like, we had, did you have when T-Pain was up here?
No, I didn't.
He was up here about a week ago, right? 2 weeks ago.
A couple of weeks.
And we was talking about that he had $40 million in his account. And then he became absolutely positively broke.
One. Oh, yeah.
And lost it all.
Yeah, I remember that.
One.
I heard about that.
Did you ever have those conversations?
He said he invested in Bitcoin and it didn't work out.
No, he did.
Trust me, if he invested in Bitcoin, that $40 million would have been a $400 million. Had he invested around the time I invested, for sure, he would have been good.
No, he definitely did. You ever have those conversations about money and what artists should do with their money?
You know what? I never really had real money conversations with none of my artists, honestly. But I kind of try to just show an example of what I do with my money and how I invest it, how I move it around.
Looks a little different, Akon. One time you had about 15 cars, all white. You had a huge house.
You had a gas station in your backyard.
Yeah.
Gas station in your backyard.
But I only did it because I could afford it, and that wasn't music money. See, the thing is, a lot of artists just assume that the money I was spending came from records. None of that money that y'all saw came from records, because if it was for records, I wouldn't be able to afford half that stuff. So what I did, I got this 10% rule. Like, if whatever I'm purchasing isn't 10% of 100% value of what I have in the bank, I don't touch it. So in other words, let's say hypothetically, if you have a car that you want to buy for $100,000.
Right.
If you ain't got $1 million in the bank,
you shouldn't buy that car.
Don't buy it.
Right.
And that goes with your house, whatever. If you want to buy a house that costs $1 million, if you ain't got $10 million in the bank, bro, don't touch that house, because you're not going to be able to afford it. It's just impossible, because most times people don't look at the interest in the long run. And those houses, those are 25, 30-year loan.
Investments, yeah.
With that interest backed up, that $1 million turned into quick almost $2 million. This is almost 50%. And half these, none of us got good credit or had good credit.
Right.
Coming up, we get that big advance and we go get that chain first, get that whip first, get that house, like in that order.
Now, being that the music isn't what's financing a lot of this, right? You must still love it to do it, to go ahead and do this whole global four labels.
No, this is all
Kadar.
for passion now. Everything I'm doing musically is I'm just fulfilling the passion. It's definitely not about the money.
So why did you and Kadar, what was that conversation when you guys decided to team up? I know he still manages you.
Yeah, Kadar's still working with me.
He still works with you, but now you guys are partners.
In his history in the industry.
Yeah, so Kadar's my partner. in the Akon label group, and Kedar was actually there since the beginning. When I was signed to Universal Motown, Kedar was the chairman and CEO of Universal Motown at that time. And he had obviously big acts like Erykah Badu, D'Angelo, Joe, like that whole neo soul. He patented that, like he created neo soul. So he always understood culture, So fast forward years down the line, outside of the artist CEO relationship, we never really had a business opportunity because I'm focused on music, he's focused on corporate. So come fast forward years down the line, I met up with him and I was like, man, I got this concept I always wanted to do, but I need somebody capable that understands Fortune 500 company business and knows how to understand how these, how the puzzles move, that can actually run it. And he was like, man, listen, once I gave him the concept, he was like, bro, I'm in 100%. This is something I always wanted to do. Obviously, because of situations he had, even with Universal, these things we couldn't do anyway because it would have been conflict of interest and so on. But now that he's free and clear from what he's doing, I'm free and clear from all my contracts. It was just like the perfect fit for us to come together.
Are you going to sign any of your kids to one of the labels? I know you have sons that also are
no,
artists.
listen, my boys, they are on a whole nother level. So we created this, they got their own little genre going that I'm going to keep completely independent because I want them to understand ownership, and I want them I'm gonna give them the machine to do what they want to do, but they have their own thing called Foreign Billionaires. And when I tell you, these boys and my girls are like out of here. Like each one of them have their own personality, own sound. They sound like mini-me's with their own touch to it. Like I'm shocked when I hear the music. Like
really?
Like literally from the production to the songwriting, like I'm super like just like inspired because I didn't realize how much of a influence I had on them, because I would just teach them the basics and then from there they just take it wherever they go with it. So the music, it's out of here. And I know before like first quarter next year you'll start hearing some releases coming from them.
You also purchased a utility company. In Africa. Now explain how you got into the utility game. It just seems something that I can't fathom. Like what make you get into electricity and things like that? Like talk about that.
No, Evie, you have no idea. Like, even today, I sit down and think of myself, like, how the hell I get into energy? Like, because 7 years ago, I knew nothing about energy. Like, absolutely nothing. All I knew was that it made good money. But I didn't know no specific details, no anything. So when I went back to Africa, I was doing a concert in Sierra Leone. And right in the middle of the second song, we was doing Ghetto. The crowd was it's like about 40, 50,000 people in that stadium, and literally electricity just cut out.
Power went out.
Power went out. Because of that, a big riot went out because the power never came back on. So I was like, something got to be done about this. Like, this ain't normal. So then I started doing research, met with the president, said, listen, man, we want to figure out how can I be of help to get the energy problems resolved in Africa, because everywhere I go, we would have the same problem. So then I went to, the Middle East, found some friends, and said, listen, if I can come through and, put together some partnerships between you and certain countries in Africa, would you provide the energy there? At this point, mind you, I know nothing about it.
Right.
Then I meet with my country president. I said, listen, I want to be able to, liaison some energy companies. How can we make this work out? Raise some money, build a power plant. This was my, thing. So he was like, if you can find it, let's do it. So now I'm hyped. I already got the parties because I had already figured it out. So I said, listen, I talked to my president. He's going to give us, the full rights to do whatever we want to do. We could build a power plant in the country and everything. So he said, cool, no problem. If we could do this, you can get an official letter from the president. I'll sign off saying we're good with it. If you can make it happen, let's go. I take the official letter, go back to my president. I said, I got some great news. He said, what is it? I said, I think I raised the money. He said, how much? And now, mind you, at that time, they was willing to put up to $1 billion to do the power plant.
Right.
So the president at that time, he had to be extremely honest with me. He said, listen, son, the business that you're entering into now is a type of business that create wars. He said, when I told you to go get it, I didn't think he was going to pull it off.
Exactly.
I didn't think he was going to hear from you again. Yeah, he said straight up, I was spinning you because I had no idea that you would ever be able to come back with it. He said, but now that you came back with it, I got to tell you this is something that we can't do right now. Politically, it's just impossible. But if you can find a different solution to provide energy, I'll back you 100%. So now at this point, I'm like, nigga, I don't know nothing about no energy. Like, what other solutions is there? I'm not even thinking. So I'm all depressed riding back to the airport. And as I'm riding, I see these vendors on the street with these little solar lamps. And then boom, it hit me. I was like, solar, that's it.
Right.
So then I started doing my research on solar, realized that the Chinese had literally invested billions and billions of dollars into solar products and factories for the United States. But then the U.S. put a 200% tax on it. So they couldn't utilize none of that stuff. They just sitting in China, all the factories, all the equipment. And I said, damn, this could be something I can use to my advantage. So I fly to China.
And you get the solar on the low, right? Now you get the solar on the low price.
So I get to China, and I was like, listen, this is a way we can both help each other. You guys invested all this money that you can't utilize. Africa's in need of it, and we don't have the product. You guys got the product, so there got to be a partnership here. They said, you know what, you're right. I said, so look, let me be the guy that you can use to deliver this product to projects in Africa. So I created my company, and I said, listen, Mr. President, I think I got the right situation. I explained to him at the time, solar was like, but it was non-threatening because no energy company around that time even cared. So they was like, okay, cool, do these villages, and then from there we'll see what happens. So the Chinese gave me $1 billion credit line to all solar products, factories, initiatives, whatever I need to do solar, I had the money to do it. So because I had that credit line now, I was able to front the country, the project, whatever the process was. Sometimes their energy budget might be $150 million, but you pay that out within 3 years. But the rural electrification budget was only like $50 million. So they couldn't afford a project that big. But because I had the credit line, I was able to front them the product, and then within 3 to 5 years, they can pay me out.
Gotcha.
You find, so it was easier for me to be able to make that move. So once we did one country, it just kind of propelled. Everybody wanted it. And we had the credit line to supply them, and now they just pay me out in years. So
who
now,
would have known a kid from Newark, New Jersey got $1 billion credit line for solar energy?
So it was just an opportunity. It just wide open. And in the process, I hired people that knew exactly how this works. They've been in it for 20, 30 years, hired them to run my company. It's been amazing ever since.
Wow.
That's something we have to learn more about here, even.
Absolutely.
Because I know I keep getting like people want to do solar panels on the roof.
They look so ugly on the roof, though. That's the only bad thing. They look so ugly on the roof sometimes.
Yeah, no, they do. But you save a lot of money because actually just last year I started Akon Light in America.
That makes sense.
Yeah, we're based in North Carolina. I partnered with a company called Reach, who's been in the game forever, and we're like literally the only African American like solar energy company in all of the United States.
Now explain how that works. You put the solar panels there, the sun comes, and it just automatically
takes
care of everything else in the house?
Yeah, like just once we create like the transition between original power to our solar system, you don't feel nothing. As if nothing never happened.
The lights don't dim. It's not, the lights not
but you feel it in your pocket, but your bill is only $10.
Yeah, when the bill is like, but the only thing that now the first initial payment be the one that's big because it's the setup, equipment, all that. You probably pay about $2,000, $2,500 to get it set up. But then you can finance that through years, right? So you really don't really feel it. But that's always the big initial payment. But after that, man, in years 10, 15, you're going to save yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And better for the
energy.
environment.
And it's way better for the environment.
And it's the same exact power. So
everything, nothing. And
it can't go out.
Perks,
so
the perks about it.
If it's a cloudy day.
That's about to say. Well, I mean, because it's storage. It's stored.
It stores energy.
It's stored.
For how long?
Man, it depends on how long you have sunny days. Like you don't have at least 20 sunny days out of a month. You follow what I'm saying? So those 5 days or 10 days that you ain't got no sun won't even matter because you fully stored.
And you can still have backup, right?
Yeah, and you got fully backup. And that's the beautiful part about it, because if you get a huge storm or whatever happens, while everybody lights is out, yours is still on because yours is not even connected to the grid.
See? That's something that I've been looking into myself because I know there's all kinds of incentives. But I would guess that the power companies probably hate that unless they can somehow make some money.
The power companies clearly hate that. They don't like that at all. But now they even transitioning into it because they know they can't get around it.
Right.
It's the future.
They just got to figure out a way that's not on your roof. Because on the roof, it just looks a little crazy sometimes. Like if you could put it in the backyard.
Yeah, you can. You can actually set up. Like my house, all that setup, you don't even see it on my roof. Like I got a whole little section in the back that you don't even see from the street. That's just, it's like a small mini grid that powers my whole property.
Wow.
Yeah. All this, and you still have time to start labels.
Oh, man, that's the passion part. That's the fun part. The label part is the easy part, actually. That's something I do in my sleep.
Dealing with all those personalities isn't that easy, though.
Oh, you mean with artists? Mm-hmm. Well, it's
like how hands-on are you with the artist?
Oh no, 100%. Like that's the one part that I'm completely hands-on. The business side, I let Kedar deal with all that. But the creative and the artist part, that's me all day. But I think me being an artist actually helped it a lot because I run into so many different people every day, whether they fans or business partners or just people that's inquiring or just want to get to know who I am. But reading people as you go. As you meet so many people, you just know how to deal with different personalities. I think that's the advantages of being an artist, owning a label, because as an artist, you already know what an artist wants and needs, right? So when you meet people, as an artist, as a creative person, you kind of get to know who they are, and then you just cater to their natural, habitat.
How many people are signed right now? Like, do you have some artists signed to all the different?
Yeah, right now I'm focused on 2 major artists. One is June Freedom. He's based out of Los Angeles, but he's from Cape Verde. He's from Africa. And the other one is Olamide. He's actually out of Nigeria.
Okay.
So we just picked him up and moving him forward as we go moving there now.
Can you walk around Senegal like normal, or do people, you're a huge celebrity? How is that when you're walking around in Senegal?
Well, in Senegal, it's tough. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
What does your house look like in Senegal? I'm curious. I see what your house look like in Atlanta. What's your Senegal house look like?
Ooh, you got to come to Senegal to see it.
Bigger than the house in Atlanta?
One photo ain't gonna be. You can't just stand there and take a picture of it. Like,
goodness gracious, Akon.
Yeah, you got to go there. Like, you got to go there.
This restaurant near my house, it's called Jollof. The owner is like, look, they do these trips to Senegal where they take people. He's like, we need you to come and organize a tour and get a group together and come to Senegal. Amazing. So I was thinking about it. They were saying that it really helps tourism a lot too.
No, it does.
You have a diamond mine?
I used to. I sold it. The diamond mine, man.
Crazy.
No, the diamond mine is
that. Bought everything.
No, but the diamond mine, that business is worse than the drug game. That business ain't no joke.
Yeah.
Really?
What?
Wow.
Can you
Diamonds?
imagine?
No, it's no.
He said no. Have you taken any major losses with these investments? Because I would assume.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean it's so crazy? Like, how is it worse than the drug game?
It's way worse because, see, just imagine a drug.
I'm just thinking the movie Diamond, whatever that movie with
Blood
Diamond.
Right. Okay.
Blood Diamond, yeah.
That movie wasn't too far off.
Really?
It wasn't too far off from the actual real business, because you got countries that's hiring rebels to protect the mines and to steal from it at the same time. So it's like it ain't no joke. Like, and nobody's honest. Everybody's stealing.
It's large amounts of money involved.
It's too much money involved that sometimes when a big rock is stolen, you don't notice because there's so many rocks. Like, but the problem with that is when it goes through the Kimberley process, they have to get certified and all this other stuff. It's just too much to explain. But just know that if you think the drug game is dangerous, you ain't met danger till you went into the diamond mine.
What's the biggest rock you pulled out? The biggest size rock you pulled out?
I never pulled any out. I saw the ones that was pulled out.
No, I mean, I know you didn't actually go in there and pull it out. What was the biggest rock that your company pulled out?
It's probably the size of that bottle top right there. Yep. In a rough, that would probably be worth about a good $250,000. But then once it's, polished and everything else, it'd be worth close to about $5 million.
Goodness gracious. Yeah.
Well,
what were you saying?
I was saying, have you ever taken any losses with your investments? Because I would assume that when you have so many different things happening, obviously sometimes things don't work out the way you plan.
Well, what's interesting is my biggest losses came from probably the music business. Investing in artists.
And you want to jump back in?
Yeah.
He's like, I love it.
No, I love it. I just because now it's not about the money, and I already know what that loss is, so I kind of already projected what the loss is going to be.
And you need some write-offs,
And definitely, no, the business is the best write-off you can ever get.
Keep losing.
You're going to keep losing because honestly, it only takes one artist to pop. And you can take losses on 10 acts, but when that one artist pop, it recoups for everybody.
Right.
And man, you just got to hope that artist got a good head on their shoulders, because then the longevity becomes, so that's why labels sign so many acts.
Right.
If you notice, labels sign about 1,000 acts, but only 5 will pop off. But that 5 keep them lights on and keep that profit going. Universal at this point, they probably got the biggest catalog of artists. They got, and then look at Empire. Empire got about, I don't know, at least 5,000 acts, about 1,000 label deals. They just signing any and everything because they know all it takes is one to pop.
They good.
But what about artist development? You think that we're lacking with that now with labels?
Oh yeah, artist development don't exist anymore. So you got to find artists that's just naturally talented. That's the best way. Like, just an artist with great music alone, if that's what your revenue model is, then that's cool. But if you're looking for artists that's 360, that's going to tour, that's going to sell products, that's going to generate mad streaming, and at the end of the day, you can do partnerships with big brands with a specific artist, because I look for artists I can use 360. Because if the music don't really sell, all right, cool. The film industry might sell for them. They got personality where they can do that. Like prime example, Jeffree Star, right? When I first signed Jeffree Star, it was about him being an artist. Yeah, he was a transvestite, but I knew that was coming in the future where the LGBT community was gonna be popping, and nobody gonna be afraid, and everybody gonna come out because that's where it was going. So I was like, cool, I'll take the chance. The nigga dope. I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So, but the music ain't quite work out. But now, if you look at his cosmetic line,
right? I never knew he did music. I always thought he was yeah.
I never knew he did music either.
Yeah, we started off doing videos, like straight videos, music video. The audience just wasn't biting. But when he started doing those YouTube tours with his makeup and all that, now it's a $50 million a year business.
And you still work with him. So, damn.
Akon getting too much money, man.
This is crazy.
He getting makeup money, diamond money, solar panel money.
You think artists can sign a deal nowadays without doing a 360 situation?
You can, but it don't benefit you. Like, this is
because most people say don't sign a 360 deal. And
listen,
they act
don't
like it's the
listen
worst
to
thing.
those people, because you can't control when it's in too many hands. Like, the only way you can make real money is when you can control it. And if you don't sign a 360 deal, this is the thing. It's a lot of things that you may not even see coming. It's a lot of talents or a lot of areas where you can make money that you may not see coming. But when you're dealing with a 360 situation, it allows you to see everything that's in front of you and see what can be maximized. But if you got one person dealing with one thing, this person dealing with another thing, this company dealing with over here, this investor dealing with over here, and they not communicating, you losing money everywhere around the board. Like, you can never organize all of it because the communication can never be intact enough to where you can maximize on every opportunity. But when you're dealing with a 360 situation, you got all the pieces in front of you, and you can figure out how this works with this, how we can collaborate this with this, how we could take this piece in, to upscale this part. Like, it's a lot easier to manage.
Right. And I would think a label wouldn't be as invested in other things that you do if they're not getting any money from it.
And that's another thing. Like, why invest in all that when I'm not even profiting in it? You don't give them an incentive to want to go hard for you. You know what I'm saying?
You're the first person I've ever heard come up here and speak positively about
a 360 deal, right?
I mean, because it makes sense all the way around the board. You're going to make more. Yeah, you might lose a little bit, but you're going to make a lot more on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So because most people, when they think 360, they're thinking about how much money they're going to lose.
They're not thinking about how much more they could potentially make.
They're not thinking about how much they can potentially make.
I think people are always saying it's a matter of ownership. They feel like with 360, they lose a lot of their ownership.
Yeah, you can own what? Own 100% of nothing. Just own it. You can own it. Nigga, you own it now. Nobody can never take anything from you when you are the asset. Like, prime example, if they come and say, well, Akon, they own you. I'd be like, all right, cool. Y'all can own me. But I know at the end of the day, I own me. I don't care what it say on that paper, because I can create another me tomorrow. They can't. So that's the difference. So don't ever look at it like that ownership is a token of value if you can't get no value out of it.
Right, if it's ownership of nothing.
If it's ownership of nothing, I'd rather own 2% of me of $1 billion worth of me than own 100% of me and the shit ain't worth nothing.
Gotcha. All right, well,
That
I
was
look
a lot
forward
of
to hearing some new
information.
music. I looked up and they had the Wakanda record, but I thought that was just a fun record?
Huh?
Akon record?
No, Akon is the label. Wakanda is the actual song.
Yeah, Wakanda was the song.
Yeah, the
Okay,
song.
Wakanda.
Yeah, that's my answer to Joanna.
Is that a fun record or?
Yeah, it's a fun record.
That's
Clearly.
Super fun
You
record.
never know. You never
No,
know.
that's
the video and
that's
get
a
it.
super. Yeah.
So when we get new music, when we get the song.
Oh, you got new music coming all week. You got, Can't Say No.
Negrito.
Yeah, El Negrito, that single coming out with Becky G called Como No. And then I got, of course, the one that's released out right now with Anuel. It's called Get Money. And then you have Can't Say No. That's actually being released off the Iconic. And then the remix with that with Tory Lanez. And then we have also Benjamin, which is the more, street, but at the same time, eclectic concept record, reality record that's coming out, Benjamin. And then on what else we got, Heidi? What else we got on those 4 albums?
The ones that's already out.
Oh, you got Low Key. Low Key is actually the Afrobeat record that's actually currently out now. Video releasing next week. And that's it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's a lot.
It seems like it, but
yeah.
the beautiful part about streaming is that everybody has their own playlist, and every genre will create a playlist for that particular song. So it's not like back in the day where it was just all radio. And radio had a specific format where you couldn't play more than one record because each record, now it's all over the place because it's all genre busters now. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Iconic label group was so I can be able to make music in every genre without it having to be competing with each other.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you for joining us,
Yeah,
brother.
so it was
No,
a pleasure,
absolutely.
Akon.